Undergraduates within our major do a lot of research, which is not something that all students in undergrad programs, I think, can say. Because sometimes you get lost in the shuffle as an undergrad, but because of the fact that we have smaller class sizes and we have this one-on-one interaction, I'm able to make that connection and then sort of guide students into something that they want to know more about, which is what research is. It's about answering questions. So they have this question about something. I can help them get started, guide them on that path, and I've had students present at conferences and do papers and different kinds of things, and they've always really liked that experience. And I am always there to help them, and that's sort of how I make my connections with the students that I've come across.
You can connect with students because you see them in a small program, in a small class. You see them a lot of the time. They don't just sort of flit in and out of your life. You have them for several classes. You can sort of pick up a vibe of whether they're feeling good or feeling not so good, whether they're grasping the material or not, whether something else is on their mind. I mean, you know them by name. You can really pick up things because it's a much closer, more intimate setting. To have somebody who knows you, who cares about you, who wants to see you succeed, I think is a value of a small setting. And so you can connect with students by not lecturing at them as if they were a crowd of hundreds, but speaking to a small group of friends.
I just love the energy of the classroom and getting to know the students and getting to know not just, why are they excited about being an education major, or why are they excited about another profession if they're taking the class for the writing overlay, but to really get to know them personally. And we do a lot of movement. I'm a former kindergarten, first grade teacher, so we're up moving around a lot. We're not sitting. I'm not a sitter. They don't like to sit. So there's always a lot of energy and noise, really productive noise in the classroom too, which I think is exciting.
I think one of the best ways that I connect with students is by being available. I have what we call an open door policy, so if I'm in my office, my door is open and they're able to come talk to me about anything at any time. So I have students coming in talking about classwork, I have students coming in wanting career advice, I have students coming in telling me a funny story that happened over the weekend. And I think just building that personal connection is a great way to build that sense of belonging for everyone on campus.
And we are really invested in what our students are doing. Like, we want them to participate. We want them to be part of discussions. We want them to come to us to talk about things that are on their minds. I've had discussions with students about sort of their future trajectory even. And these are discussions that sometimes you feel like, well, should they be having with their parents? But at the same time, they trust us enough. And that trust comes from the fact that we make those connections with our students and they feel comfortable talking to us about some of this stuff. College can be really challenging. It can be a time where, people are finding themselves, but I feel like it's not so much finding, it's that they're sort of arriving at who they are meant to be through the college experience, and faculty are integral in that process. We walk them through it, as well as, their families and friends. So I feel like that's sort of our secret sauce. But it's not so much of a secret because our faculty want students to know that we are there for them.
I think that biology does a really terrific job of this. So in the first year course that students take in that first semester as a biology, biochemistry, or neuroscience major, they end up getting hands-on research experience. And what we do is we actually dig up soil from wherever they want to. They can go back to their hometowns. Some students have soil actually sent to them from all over the country, let alone all over the world. I think we had soil from India last year, all sorts of different states. And what's within that soil are these viruses that infect bacteria. So what students do is they dig up the soil and then we isolate these viruses called bacteriophage from the soil. And that's super exciting to them because we don't just do this for, just the experience, the hands-on experience, although that's really important, but the phage, these viruses that they isolate actually go into a database at the University of Pittsburgh. And they have been used therapeutically for patients that have these diseases that otherwise couldn't be treated. So that's one of the experiences that students get in their first year. It's not actually related to my research at all, but the hands-on techniques are really important for any kind of biology that they do within the lab later on. In terms of my research, so I use Drosophila, which are these little tiny fruit flies, and they don't carry disease or anything, even though they are pests and we don't really want them in our bananas in the kitchen. But they're really useful for genetic studies. We know a lot about what goes on, and in fact 75% of human diseases also have the same genes that can cause disease in fruit flies. So there's a lot that we can learn, and actually in the genetics course that I teach, we use fruit flies, and we actually every semester study a different gene that we don't know much about yet, and we have exploratory studies, and they actually get a scientific paper. I was actually just yesterday writing the paper that we're going to submit from the students from this past semester. So they get the experience of really doing hands-on research and then that contributing to a scientific publication.
We require people to do research, to find and assess information, to put it together, to make coherent arguments, to speak clearly, to present the findings of their research in long written papers, papers that are assigned by faculty and graded by the same faculty. These are all things that prepare you to be ready for anything. So I'm a deep believer in political science, but I think other majors carry those same benefits, that you have to be able to speak and think and reflect and research and write, and that will take you as far as you can go.